Disney Lorcana's second set, titled Rise of the Floodborn, launches November 17th and December 1st for local game stores and retail, respectively. And we've just seen our first 13 cards of the over 200 being released. Starting off our characters that were revealed with arguably the best artwork on a card, Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard, who is an amethyst, 5-cost, inkable, 5/5 character who quests for 2. He doesn't have any abilities, he just slots nicely into Amethyst, who really only has one other playable 5-drop in the Queen Wicked and Vain. Also, Winnie the Pooh is just another Amethyst sorcerer, so maybe if we get sorcerer support, we could see a boost to this card. Our next character is also Amethyst, and it's Merlin Shapeshifter, who is an inkable 4-cost 1/5 card that quests for 1, but adds that whenever one of your other characters is returned to your hand from play, he quests for +1 lore that turn. The key here is that the character comes from play to the hand, so this card does not work with the Mickey and Brooms package or Dr. Facilier Agent Provocateur, which all trigger after the card is banished. I assume we are going to get more Amethyst support for this, as the only Amethyst that works is Befuddle at the moment. Next up is Gaston, Intellectual Powerhouse, coming in as a non-inkable 6-cost 4/4 card that quests for 3 lore. He has Shift 4, so I would guess we are getting a cheaper Sapphire Gaston in this set to really make this a big payoff. He also has the ability that when played, you get to look at the top 3 cards in your deck, put 1 in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your deck. This card is kind of similar to Sapphire's other 6-drop, Robin Hood Unrivaled Archer. They both are 4/4s that +1, but Gaston trades his inkable ability to quest for 1 more lore. If we do get a cheap Sapphire Gaston, I see this card as a much better Robin Hood. The Queen Commanding Presence is an amber, 5-cost, inkable 4/3 character who quests for 2 lore. She is Shift 2, which is our cheapest shift character at 2, and the highest reduction in -3. With Amber being an aggro deck, and this being such a cheap shift, I'm really expecting to see a 1 or 2 cost Queen in Amber. Her ability is that whenever she quests, a chosen character gets -4 strength for the turn, and another chosen character gets +4 strength for the turn. This is a pretty good ability, letting you trade one of your lower cost cards for something bigger on the opponent's side, or remove an opponent's strength to keep your character in play. The fact that this is Shift 2, once we see a lower cost Queen, this card is going to get even better. Our next Amber character is Mickey Mouse Friendly Face, who is a 6-cost inkable 1/6 that quests for 3. Mickey's ability is that whenever he quests, you get to pay 3 less cost for the next character you play that turn. This seems like a pretty good card at first glance. This is one of 2 cards leaked so far for Amber that add more cost reduction, and I really see this card going great into the Amber Steel Song deck, or really any Amber mid-range deck. This ability is the highest base cost reduction we have seen to date, and because of that, I assume there will be lots of decks trying this card out. Next up is Raya, Warrior of Kamandra, who is a ruby, 4-cost, inkable 5/3 that quests for 1 and has no abilities. This card's stats are identical to Scar Fiery Usurper, only difference is this is a hero princess, which could be a slight difference if there is more princess support in red, but right now Scar isn't played, and I don't see that changing with Raya. We're also getting another Amethyst Elsa in Elsa Gloves Off, which is an inkable 3/4 that quests for 1. She also has Challenger +3, so she is effectively a 6 strength character on our turn. This card looks decent, but I really don't expect to be too prevalent, maybe more of a situational card to deal with bigger threats. Belle Hidden Archer is an emerald 5-cost non-inkable 3/3 that quests for 1 lore. She also has Shift 3, so instead of 5 ink, you can shift a Belle you have in play for 3 ink to play Hidden Archer. This won't matter so far unless other Bells are released in this set, as the only other Bells are both Sapphire, and Strange but Special shouldn't ever be shifted, and Inventive Engineer doesn't really have much synergy with Emerald. Her ability is whenever she is challenged, the challenging player has to discard their whole hand. When first reading, most people assume this is going to be busted, but I think there are quite a few outs to this that are commonly run in meta decks. You have removal like Smash, Be Prepared, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, Hades Infernal Schemer, and Let It Go. There's also the steal combo of Grab Your Sword and Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. Also, this can be played around just because you'll probably have a lower hand size by the time she is out on turn 5. I would also expect either in this set or future ones more damage dealing cards like Smash. Now, none of this is to say that this card won't be excellent in Emerald, because it 100% will. This card should easily quest 2 or more times before your opponent can deal with it, and with cards like The Beast is Mine and John Silver Alien Pirate, which makes an opposing character challenge if possible, and this card will be an absolute menace in Emerald decks. Cinderella Stouthearted is a steel inkable 7-cost 5/5 character who quests for 3 lore. She is our first knight card, so I'll be interested to see if we see any knight synergy in this set. She has shift 5, but currently the only other Cinderella is an amber, so her shift only matters right now in an amber steel deck. If we get more steel princess cards, I could see an amber steel princess build too. This is also our first introduction to the keyword resist, which this card has +2, meaning any damage dealt to her is reduced by 2. This seems to be a great keyword to have since it's just damage, not just damage from challenging, so she resists damage from things like Smash or Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. Her final ability is another amazing one that whenever you play a song, she can challenge a readied character. With Steel Amber Songs already being a great deck, this card seems like an easy fit in. In the deck, you're playing so many songs that Cinderella should be able to clear any potential threats almost every turn. Speaking of Steel Princesses, our next card is Tiana Celebrating Princess, who is a non-inkable 4-cost 1/4 character who quests for 2 lore. Like Cinderella, she is also a resist 2, and with 4 willpower, Tiana is a pretty beefy character. Her ability is that when she is exerted and you have no cards in hand, opponents can't play action cards. This card seems situational at best. While not allowing your opponent to play action cards is strong, having that second condition be no cards in hand makes this a weak card. It's not like an ability that can be on your turn where you empty your hand, activate her ability, and then activate another card to draw something. I see people mentioning this being counter to Be Prepared or Dragonfire, but Ruby runs Maui, which takes this out the turn he has played even with her resist 2. Maybe when other cards are revealed, we will see some additional synergy, but right now, I don't find Tiana to be that good. The only song leaked right now is the 2-cost Amber 0 to Hero, which when played, you count how many characters you have in play, and then you pay that amount less for the next character you play. This card seems absolutely amazing in aggro Stitch Rockstar decks, where you most likely have 3 or more characters in play, meaning you can sing this with a 2-cost character for free and play a 3-cost or more character for free. I posted an Amethyst Amber Villain Swarm deck that I think this would be amazing in, potentially getting us out Hades King of Olympus pretty early, letting us quest for lots of lore early. We get a Ruby 4-cost item in Dinner Bell, which for 2 cost we can insert it to draw cards equal to the damage on one of our characters, but then we banish that character. This is a really interesting card, but I'm not sure how it will shake out in the meta. This card gives Ruby their own draw power, but at the cost of banishing one of your own characters. This could be good if you have something slightly big and then take out an opposing character that puts decent damage on your own, but that seems kind of situational. I don't think this card really makes the cut in the tier 1 Amethyst Ruby deck because of Amethyst's draw power already, but I do think this card could see play in a Ruby Sapphire deck with all their big characters that they can put in play. Our final leak card is the Sorcerers Handbook, which is a non-inkable 3-cost Amethyst item that can be exerted and costs 1 ink to gain 1 lore. This is our only card currently that just gains lore on the turn it's played. This card seems very good, and as such, I expect more item removal cards in this set like Beast Hard-Headed. This card is at a minimum 4 ink for 1 lore, but each turn that this stays in play, it gets better. I've seen some people saying this card is too good, but it's essentially Eye of Fates cost-wise without needing a character in play, but also not inkable where Eye of Fates is. I'm really hoping this set has much better item cards, and I'm already excited to try this in an Amethyst Sapphire item deck. What do you think of the first cards revealed from the set, and what are you looking forward to?